Showmen have captivated the world with elaborate hoaxes over the years. The showman did not consider his shows to be deceptive because his audiences were willing participants in his ruses. During the tribulation, there will be a new showman who will outperform every previous grandstander. His tricks, unlike those of the typical showman, will not be lighthearted entertainment or freely chosen. He will persuade nations to disarm and give him complete control by promising peace and prosperity. The Antichrist, along with his false prophet, will persuade millions that his government and economic system are everything you ever need, and it's right here in front of you. The cost of joining this world order will be a non-refundable, mandatory mark worn by every citizen. It is known as the Beast's Mark, or simply 666. What is the mark of the beast? According to Revelation 13, the Antichrist's right-hand man, the beast from the earth, also known as the false prophet, will implement a mark to strengthen his one-word rule. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Revelation 13, verse 16 through 17. 70 years ago, this would have been impossible, but with the progress of technology, this is a possibility. It is incredible that this prophecy was written years ago, before this was even a possibility. The word for the mark in the passage is harigma, which is a Greek word. The word was always associated with the Roman emperor in antiquity. It frequently included the emperor's name, image, and reign year. It was required for buying and selling, and it had to be affixed to documents to attest their authenticity. Every living person will be required to bear the beast's mark during the tribulation. It will be the only way to function in society, just as it was in ancient Rome. Why 666? Many people have speculated on the significance of the number 666. Goliath was 6 cubits tall and wore 6 pieces of armor. The statue of Nebuchadnezzar was 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, with 6 musical instruments beckoning its worshippers. Some have suggested that the beast represented by the number is Nero and other world leaders. All of these conjectures are just that, conjectures that tell us nothing about the number's meaning. The most likely answer is also the least interesting. It is the number of man, according to Revelation 13, verse 18. This is confirmed throughout the Bible. Man was created on the 6th day of creation, according to Genesis. Men were required to work 6 out of every 7 days under the Old Testament law. A Hebrew could be held as a slave for no more than 6 years. After 6 years of sowing, a field was required to lie fallow. The number does not so much identify an individual as it does the human race. To summarize, the number 666 represents the pinnacle of human ingenuity and competence. The Antichrist is the pinnacle of man's final attempt to rule the world before Jesus finally triumphs over all those who oppose him. How will 666 miss the mark? During the tribulation, the mark of the beast will provide hollow promises and insufficient relief. It will allow people to buy and sell goods, but many will be unable to afford food. Revelation 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Worse, the mark will separate its bearers from God's love and condemn them to eternal punishment. If anyone worships the beast in his image and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he will also drink of the wine of God's wrath, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He will be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Revelation 14, verses 9 through 11. And the 3rd angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Mankind yearns for completeness because God has put eternity in our hearts. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Every man's best efforts will never result in perfection. We will always fall short on our own, and we will always yearn for the perfect completeness that can only be found in God. Is there an alternative to 666? Those who refuse the beast's mark will face the Antichrist's wrath. They will be unable to purchase, sell, work, or participate in society. Anyone who does not bear the mark of the beast will be killed or starved, and Christians will be martyred for their faith. The only alternative will be to focus on what is unseen rather than what is seen. The Apostle Paul endured beatings, shipwrecks, stoning, and more, yet he was not deterred from serving the Lord. In his second letter to the church at Corinth, Paul explained the source of his hope that sustained him through these trials. Therefore, we do not lose heart. Even though our outward man is perishing, yet the inward man is being renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we do not look at the things which are seen, but at things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. 2 Corinthians 4, verses 16 through 18. Refusing the mark will cause temporary suffering, but the Bible assures us that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Romans 8, verse 18. Which mark will you bear? Citizens of the Antichrist's empire will be distinguished by the indelible mark of the beast. Citizens of Christ's kingdom are also identified by a mark. God marks believers as his very own by sending his Holy Spirit to live in them. In him you also trusted, after you heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, in whom also, having believed, you were sealed with the Holy Spirit of promise, who is the guarantee of our inheritance until the redemption of the purchased possession, to the praise of his glory. Ephesians 1, verse 13 through 14. Some people try to put on a show for God. They go to church, they read their Bibles occasionally. They try not to swear or drink. They want God's blessings without his judgment. They might seem to work for a little while, but it is impossible to serve two masters. Matthew 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Each of us must decide whose mark will we bear. As Joshua challenged the people of ancient Israel, each of us must choose this day whom we will serve. Joshua 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.